In this video, I'm going to share with you a live recording of a coaching call that I hosted inside of my Summit Scale community. We talked about exactly what you need to scale your ads and to let go of a lot of the fears and limiting beliefs that hold a lot of people back from actually scaling to that next level. So I want to just kind of give you a bit of an insight into what it's like on the other side and like inside of Summit Scale, inside the community, inside the coaching calls and stuff like that. So you can get a bit of a good understanding of kind of what's behind the curtain, right? So make sure you get your notebook out for this one and take a lot of notes and actually take action on this stuff, because this was a very, very powerful and impactful call. So that said, without further ado, let's get into it. Hope you enjoy the video. Cool. So for the first bit of the call here, we're going to be going over some very important stuff about scaling, and especially when it comes to ads. Now, one of the things I see a lot of the time is people launch ads and then it works. They're getting a very positive return on their ads, and then they leave it. They don't touch the budget. They're scared to increase it. They're scared to spend more. And then they make the same amount of money next month. And then the same amount of money next month. And then the same amount of money next month. And they wonder why. And so today I just want to kind of have a really open conversation with everybody in here about some of the beliefs around that. I know a lot of times it stems from fear. This is something that I had to go through as well when I was kind of first scaling things up last year too. So I just want to, for those of you that aren't quite at that level, hopefully this will help you kind of prepare and kind of build a mental fortress around your mind for the time that you do get to that stage. But for some of you guys who have kind of found that maybe you've been plateauing, you haven't been growing consistently every single month, even though you're getting at least a 3x return on your ads, then this is going to help a lot. So I'm excited for this one. Excited to dive in here today and really just hammer this home. So that said, let's get cracking. So when it comes to, I want to ask you guys this. Everybody, unmute yourself when you have an answer for me. I want to hear from you guys. What are some fears or beliefs you guys have when it comes to running ads?
Dude, for me, I'm getting a big return on my ad spend, right? But I have this belief that if I start spending more money, I'm gonna have too many people coming through and I won't be able to fulfill to them, even though I'm having no problem with fulfillment right now.
Gotcha. How many clients do you have right now? And how many did you bring on this past month?
I have 37 clients right now and probably brought on 10.
Okay. How many more, if you were to bring on 30 this next month, would you be able to sustain that?
Maybe not forever unless I started hiring out.
Mm-hmm.
But honestly,
Yeah.
I honestly think if I signed 30 this month, I'd be able to handle it. But I don't think I'd be able to sign 30 again next month.
Right. Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, you're in a good spot, man. And I've been exactly where you're at too. My mentality sometimes, I like to risk it for the biscuit. I'd rather be a little aggressive and go for it, because you can't fix something that's not broken. Right. So you could be plateauing, if you kind of stayed where you're at right now because you're afraid of that happening, then a couple months could go by kind of at the same level and you're just kind of coasting and plateauing and doing nothing to really prepare for future scale, because it's not a problem right now. And if something's not a problem right now, we don't necessarily usually prioritize it as well, right? Whereas if you sign 30 clients this month, there's gonna be a bit of a fire under your ass to then really dial in the client success systems, processes. Maybe bring on a team member to help out with that, a coach or a client success manager, right? Whereas right now things are good, things are smooth, they're chilling. So there's no real incentive. So then chances are you're probably gonna be stuck. You're probably gonna hit a plateau and be stuck there for a while until you do kind of make those changes. But then you might not be making enough to be able to find and attract a really good person who's gonna stick with you and stuff like that until you are scaling. But yeah, that's a very insightful realization there. Does that make sense? The answer I just gave you?
Yeah, 100%. Because if
Mhm.
I'm not scaling, then I'm not gonna have like, the margin to, or like the need to, number one, hire somebody, because right now I can pretty much do everything by myself. And then number two, I'm not gonna have the margin to be able to pay somebody who's actually who's actually going to be able to help me, rather than somebody I'm gonna have to babysit and get like maybe 50% of what I can do.
Totally. And then you'll find yourself a few months down the road, you got to find somebody new. And all the energy and time you spent training that one person is going to kind of go to waste as well. So you're kind of shooting yourself in the foot, kind of going about it kind of half baked, if you get what I mean.
Yeah,
Yeah,
instead of being able to really hire somebody who's there for the long run.
totally. Yeah. So my mentality was like, yeah, scale until it breaks. It did break. And then and kind of once you get to like 80% capacity, that's where I would start to like really just identify, okay, things are filling up right now. Maybe next month I won't increase the ad spend again, keep it steady, and then start looking to build out the systems or rebuild the program to systemize and automate a little bit more, or find somebody as a support role. Okay, sweet. Love to hear from somebody else. Fears, doubts, hesitations
I got
when it
one.
comes to ads.
I got one, bro. So what if I can't get enough leads fast enough for me and my setter that I put a ton of effort in to hire and interview for, that I've got in like 5 days? Like, what if I can't get that in? And then a second fold one, which is like, what if I dump my entire budget and don't sign clients? So those are my two biggest fears, I would say.
Okay. Who else?
I've got one. I could say I have a fear limiting belief that I don't have the like knowledge or tactics to test enough like audiences to find my ideal client.
Yeah. Is that like not enough testing budget, or just not enough angles, or kind of the capacity to
Probably just the know-how, like a little overwhelmed with like how to even go about testing different audiences and how much to allocate budget for that test and then knowing when to switch and go, that's not working, etc.
gotcha. Okay. Who else? Start calling on a couple of you guys.
I
I
got
can
one.
go ahead, Lee.
Okay. I'm always worried I'm not going after a specific enough audience.
Okay. What do you mean?
With my offer, right? I teach music production and I still am going back and forth. Should I work with just one genre, hip hop, or should I work with anyone who's a songwriter? And I'm always afraid I'm not going after a niche specific enough person.
Okay. Who else?
For me, like it's just I don't want it to break. Like you're like go until it breaks. I'm like, man, I don't want it to break. I want it to be like strong and like ready to withstand everything, you know?
Totally. That's a really good point. Okay. Who else? When it comes to increasing ad spend and scaling, what are you afraid of? There's no wrong answers. Chances are everybody else here has experienced the same thing.
Eric, you go first. I'll go second.
Yeah, one of the things that I'm afraid of is that putting out to the marketplace like my brand of being too salesy, because my ad is very direct and it's working really well right now. So then I have this limiting belief that, the more money I put on the ad, the more people are gonna see me as being, some salesy business person.
Yeah, that's a good one. Luke?
Yeah, I got another two, which is more around delivery, but you said around scaling. So I suppose it comes under. But one of them is, I kind of know the answer to this, but what if I don't get one of my clients' results in this next 40 days? and have to refund him, and then I fuck myself? And then what if I can't tighten up my delivery and it's still messy and way too long?
Okay. Luis?
It's not specifically about ads, but you can leave me for the end of the call if you want.
Okay. Cool. Okay. So lots of good stuff. What if I spend my entire budget and I don't sign any clients? That's a big one, right? Not wanting things to break as well. So being kind of like, yeah, afraid of pushing that limit and seeing where that kind of tipping point is. Another one kind of about the more so like the effectiveness of the ads, I'd say. Kind of Cooper and Lee about like not a specific enough audience, or just like I don't know how to find the right audience and stuff like that. Yeah. Okay. I've also heard one of my mastermind clients was kind of afraid of success too. Like he was doing 100K a month, just kind of cruising, and he was afraid to increase the budget because he didn't want to, yeah, like fulfillment wasn't so much, well, I guess a little bit, but that was one concern for sure. But then it was also just kind of like the volume of leads, meaning more calls and stuff like that. So then like here's the bottleneck, but that's just due to lack of systems, right? With the proper systems and proper teams, you can kind of do that. But okay. And another one was kind of about like, what if I spend all of my ad budget and I don't get any clients with it? Then what? Right. So, okay.
Hey, Jeremy, can I add something?
Yeah, really quick.
Yeah, sure. It's about that because I think my one may be a little bit different than you guys, but it's related to ads. And it's because I came with a list of previous followers, customers when I used to do fitness. And I guess my limiting belief right now is I've been trying to find the customers within this list. I've been mailing like 3 or 4 times a week for the past month, trying different angles because quite frankly, I might be a few steps behind from you guys because I was refining my offer and I'm trying to find customers within my audience. And I guess the limiting belief now that I hear you all say is, since I haven't run ads before for selling my offer, it's like I am still trying to get people from my list when in reality, I should just run the freaking ads and that's it, because it's pretty clear to this point that there is not enough qualified leads because I have conversations. I'm booking like around 5 to 8 calls a week, but it's almost impossible to get a client from them. So I was trying to see, is it my sales process? Is it the offer? But quite frankly, after hearing you all say it, this is just a limiting belief of I should just run the ads. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. Makes total sense. Okay. I know some of you guys that shared some of your hesitations and fears and stuff like that. You're getting a very, very high return on ad spend. And maybe there's a couple of things that I kind of want to cover today. So the first one kind of being like, yeah, the fear of spending more money. What if I spend money, it doesn't work? And I know some of you guys in here have a high return over like a 3x. Erwin, are you on this call? I believe you are. Yeah. Erwin used to run an agency. Hey, what's up? Erwin used to run an agency where he built funnels and scaled 7 of Grant Cardone's companies. Their goal, their target return on ad spend was a 3x. That was the North Star KPI. If you're turning $1 into 3, spend is empty your fucking bank account. Like that's what it was. If you're turning $1 into 3, scale as hard as you can, because you've got a money printer that nobody else in the world, like everybody else, is like fighting to have. And I know a lot of people have like, it's funny, like, especially in the wins channel, you see some people, they're like, oh, it's like 8x return this month, or 12x ROAS, or like Alberto, he had like fucking 30 something or 40x ROAS, right? But literally in like every other ad funnel, you're lucky to get a 3x. You're lucky. Like that's what people aim for. Like they hope. Most funnels, to be honest with you, they only try to break even on the front end, and then they rely on back end upsells and cross sells for the profit. If they can just pay $0 to get a customer, they're happy. Right? So I think a big part of why a lot of people are kind of hesitant is like, yeah, you could be making 10K a month with like a 6x ROAS. You're only spending like 1,500 a month or something like that, or 2K a month, right? But then you're turning $1 into $6. But if you think about it relatively, if you like, so a lot of people claim that they want to scale to a certain number. And I did this for a long time too. So that's why I can say this, because hopefully you guys can learn from my mistakes here. But a 6x ROAS at 10K a month is much worse than a 3x ROAS when you're making 50K a month. Because if you think about it, yeah, you might be spending 15K, but you're taking home 35 versus spending 2 and taking home 8. I would much rather do that. Are we optimizing for our ROAS? Or are we optimizing for cash in our bank? For the first about 6 to 7 months, at least, when I started running ads, I completely, like, I tried to pay myself as least amount of money as I possibly could. Literally just paying rent and like groceries. I wasn't doing anything. My gym pass maybe too, but like super chill. Wasn't doing anything. I was just like, my goal was to spend more money on ads. That was my goal. So like a lot of people have like investment goals and like profit goals and stuff like that. My goal was to be able to increase my ad spend as far as I could take it before things like really broke. So I think I started at like 25 bucks a day, made a few sales. Some came from YouTube too, which helped. So I'm like, okay, double the ad spend, cranked up to 50. That was scary. That was scary as hell. Like very scary. And then the leap from 50 to 100 a day was also very scary. But then I was like, okay, 100 bucks a day, that's actually not much money at all. Sounds like it is, but it's not at all. And it's only 3K a month. All I have to do is get like one client and I'm good. I'm chilling, breaking even. Cool. But that's just on the short-term return. The funnel that we're building, that we're all running in here, we're building a funnel that compounds. Because yeah, you can make a sale, get a 3K client and break even right now. But think about the hundreds of other qualified leads that are now watching your stuff. If you think about the 30-day rule, on average, it takes 30 to 90 days for somebody to go from a stranger to a paying customer, and like 7 hours, give or take, of consuming your content. Right. Yeah, whatever. You get the point. So I kind of looked at things from that perspective of like, okay, this is my retirement fund. I don't need a return right now. Think about like your parents or like the other like NPCs just put money in the S&P 500, and holy shit, it's a good year if I'm making 10% of my money this year. All I have to do is just wait 40 years and then I can retire with 5K a month coming through. Right? So I view my audience, my Instagram, my YouTube as my retirement fund. That's my S&P 500. So the more money I put in there, the more it grows, the more of return that I get. And if I get thousands or tens of thousands of people who know me, like me, and trust me, and see my face every day, hear my voice and my message every single day, I'm never gonna have to worry about money again. Right? So even if, like, I don't need a return right now. I don't. Because I know it's gonna come. It's gonna come tenfold for years to come. And that's another thing too. Are you just trying to build this business for the next 3 to 6 months? Or are you actually trying to build this into something great that's gonna last? Right? I know in the make money online space, there's a lot of people that talk like and kind of preach about like just making a hell of a lot of money very quickly. Right? Hopefully I don't give off that vibe. Hopefully I make it clear that it's gonna suck, it's gonna be hard, and it's gonna require a lot of growth. But we want things, we want it all now. And a belief that served me extremely well is really zooming out and being completely detached. As long as I can pay my rent and go to the gym in the morning and eat some food and do good work, I'm chilling. I'll do that for as long as it takes. Every other dollar, right back into the business until I've spent money to build that foundation up where 100K is a bad month. Right? I've kind of got like, because of that, like, because of the last 13, 14 months of just dumping money into ads to grow my audience, I'm only spending like 100, 150 bucks a day. Like I'm not spending more than I'm definitely not spending more than 5K a month right now. As I'm kind of in like rebuilding the back end, team completely flipped over as well, building out proper systems and everything. And then I'm going to try, like, I want to get to the point where I can spend 1,000 a day. Like that's my goal. Spend a couple grand a day. And I was just on a podcast this morning with a guy. He's doing $500,000 a month. And he's only spending, I think he said 30K a month, 20K a month, something like that. But that's because he's been building it for a long time and just dumping money into ads to grow his audience. And then from there, that's when things really start to compound and really, really start to take off. So I think it served me very well to kind of understand like the stage in my journey I was at in the first 6 months of starting a new funnel. And it really helped ground me of like, okay, I'm building the foundation brick by brick. I don't need a return right now. As long as I can pay my rent and live in this apartment for another month, I'm chilling. I'm good because I know what's going to come 6 to 12 months from now. If you truly zoom out, it puts you in such a good headspace to be able to be very creative, to think your own thoughts, to really be unapologetically yourself, to make really good content, to improve your product and your program, to attract good people, all that kind of stuff, to become a leader worth following. Whereas if you're just so short-sighted and focused on the short term, I need a return right now because I saw somebody else in the Wins channel do that. We're all different. Everybody comes in at different stages. So please, please, please do not compare yourself to any other coach in here, because some people come in, never made content before. Some people come in, 200,000 followers on Instagram, right? Massive spectrum. Some people come in with a $7,500 offer and a big audience. Some people come in with a $1,200 offer with no real audience and lack of clarity on the audience niche and all that stuff too, right? So it's like, it's very hard. It's not apples to apples. So I really just urge you guys and suggest that you guys really just don't look around too much and really just focus on yourself and understand kind of where you're at as well. And whenever you kind of think about ads, really just come from the place of every dollar I spend right now is going to pay me so much more 6 to 12 months from now, rather than 6 to 12 days from now. And kind of in the earlier stages as well, when it comes to okay, so how much should I spend on ads? It was I want to be able to run my ads for at least 30 days. I want to give myself a 30-day window and some breathing room there. It never took more than 30 days to sign a client. I'll tell you that. Right? I know a lot of us are oh, well, what if I spend all my money in the next month and I don't sign any, When has that ever happened? I see Lee shaking his head.
Like, has that happened to one person in this whole entire community where it's taken more than that?
Especially if you're spending at least a couple grand on ads and you're making content on Instagram and YouTube consistently every day, VSL, get your offer dialed in, doing all the right inputs consistently every single day, non-negotiable. Pretty rare. Right. And I get it. I totally get it. It sucks. Ads are completely backwards from anything that we are used to, where you spend money and you throw it into the abyss and then you cross your fingers and hope it comes back. That's scary because there's uncertainty. There's a lot of risk and we don't know. Right. Can you guys relate to that? Like, you're just throwing money and like, well, I hope this works. And I think expanding your time horizon and really zooming out changes my mindset from like, I hope this works to, I know this will work eventually. And that's been very, very powerful as well. So to kind of recap, like, if you're doing like 5K a month, you're spending $1,000 in ads, like 30 something a day, you're doing 5K a month, like double your ad spend, spend 2K of that 5K that you just made next month. Right. You'll probably do like 8 to 10. And then you're stacking your audience with twice as many leads too, that are going to convert over the next like 3 to 6 months as well. Right. Probably most of you guys in here, there's definitely some exceptions. I'd say like 10% of your audience is ready to buy like in the first month they know you. Most are going to be in the next like 1 to 3 months, if not longer. I bet a lot of you guys in here have probably been watching my stuff for longer than 6 months. Right. So think about your own purchasing behavior as well, because that's what you're going to attract as well. So if you're kind of panicking about, okay, well, what if I don't have a return right now, today, this week? How do I know if my ads are working? It's like, well, think about yourself. Would you pay somebody 3K, 5K to a stranger you just found on the internet? You don't even really know them too much, like them, trust them. You don't know if they can get you results. I wouldn't. And a lot of like every offer is a little bit different, right? Mine's a fairly longer sales cycle, I'd say, because every single one of my clients have gone through other programs. And if they're here with a lead problem, chances are it didn't work. They got burned. So they're a little hesitant, right? I get it. Totally makes sense. So that really just helps me detach as well. And then, yeah, I think zooming out, having that perspective, and then also having the intention of serving your audience, serving your market, and going at things with the right intention actually helps speed things up. When you focus on the money, you rarely ever get money. When you focus on improving yourself and becoming better and smarter and stronger every single day, and then that reflects in your content and your content levels up because you're changing more people's lives as well. And then you're giving them more value and adding to your Goodwill bank account. Then they come back when you want to take a withdrawal from it, it's full. Whereas most people just don't actually have that much value to give, and they don't continually work to improve and provide more value because they're not growing. So then how could the value of their content grow as well? Right. And that does have a big impact on performance of ads. When you're just trying to extract and extract, well, how can you expect to get water when the well is dry? Because you took it all out. Right. How can you take money out of your Goodwill bank account if there's nothing in there? You haven't been making any deposits. So that is another huge factor as well that plays into it. And then also, this is another one too, of just like another lesson that I learned. It's like, don't spend your money on dumb shit. Because like I remember back when I was kind of last spring or whatever, it was like, I was like, oh, I want to increase my budget. And I was like, well, I just bought a car. And now I don't have as much money in the bank to be able to do that. That was dumb. right? I shot myself in the foot by putting a bunch of cash into that BMW. And then it didn't really make too much sense. So it's easier said than done for sure, about just like, don't increase, like, yeah, the Stripe screenshots look really pretty and look nice right now. You're making 10, 20, 30, 40K a month. But is your bank account actually growing? And the way to do that is like zoom out. Just be like, okay, I plan on doing this for a hell of a lot longer than just the next few months. So I'm going to spend more money and do whatever it takes and reinvest into the business. Like Jeff Bezos didn't take a profit from Amazon for 7 years. He just kept dumping money into the business. And one of the things that he was like, one of his perspectives was like, most people in business look around and they ask the question of, what can I do right now that's very easy, cheap, and quick that I can do to get a leg up on my competitors, to get an edge on the competition? Jeff was like, what's very hard and complicated, very expensive, and takes a long time to build, that lets me get an edge on my competition? For us, that's our audience, our personal brand, right? It takes a long time, kind of sucks, it's hard. There's a lot of stuff that goes into it. However, that's what separates you from everybody else in the long term, right? I'd imagine probably 90% of you guys join my program because of me. You're related with me on some level, right? I'm sure the client results probably influenced it to some degree, but largely in part the personal brand, right? Your prospects are no different than you. We attract exactly who we are and what we are, right? So that's something very, very important to understand as well. And yeah, so that said, like, especially for those kind of like under 10 to 20K a month, I'd really suggest like, don't spend like really just audit, like, where's the money going? If you can't, like, if you're making 10K a month, you're like, oh, I can't raise my budget anymore. It's like, the money's probably going somewhere else, right? And chances are it doesn't really need to, or it shouldn't be. And I think a big thing that I would really suggest you guys do is like, until you're doing at least 30, 40, 50 a month consistently, like, just feed the beast by taking money out, not increasing the ad spend and the budget. Like, you're starving your business. You're stealing from your business by spending money on other things that doesn't make the business grow. One thing that helped me is creating a business account. Like, at the start, I think I had my personal account, which I just ran the business through too. So it was just all messy. And then once I separated it, so I had my personal account, like, this is not financial advice. I don't know what the hell I'm doing. I'm just some crazy blonde guy from Canada. But I like, Jeremy Pogue has like, I think I've got like $3,000 in my bank account to my name. Like, I just don't pay myself. Taxes up here are bad too. Like, if I pay myself personal tax, I get taxed at 50%. That's dumb. So I just keep everything in the company. I pay myself as little as possible, which forces me to spend as little as possible on myself and personal stuff, right? So that said, like, there's going to be seasons of sacrifice. We're going to give up some of the shit you want to do, shit you want to buy, and feed the monster, feed the beast, give the business what it needs to thrive. And the analogy that I gave myself, that I told myself back when I was kind of in those stages where I was starting to scale, was like, I was like, the money in the business bank account was like money, or like just the liquidity, the ability to increase ads and to reinvest in the business if I needed to. That was like the air going through the lungs of the business. And whenever I'd steal from it, I'm stealing the air out of the lungs of my company. I'm hurting it. I'm a disease. I'm an infection. It's preventing it from growing. It's killing it. How could I expect it to grow if I'm stealing all the air and the oxygen from its lungs? Right? So it's one of those things where it's like a flywheel effect kind of, where at the start, you really got to feed it. You got to give it everything it needs. And then it gets to a certain point where it's like a snowball rolling down a hill. Then it just gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and it's hard to stop. So there is that inflection point where you have to grind really hard to build it and to get it off the ground and get it running. It's exactly like a rocket ship. A rocket ship spend like, I think they expel like 95%. Oh, I think my camera just died. 95% of its fuel just getting like in the first, like, I don't know, just getting out of the atmosphere. And then from there, it cruises. Same thing with your business, right? You spend like 90%, like it's a grind getting it off the ground and getting to that place where you are actually like where you're cruising. But then it doesn't require as much anymore. Then it's hard to stop. Then 100K months become bad months. You wonder what the hell is wrong with you. But getting to that point, you really gotta feed it, give it what it needs, and stop stealing the breath out of its lungs. So yeah, I know some of you guys probably needed to hear this today, and some of you guys, hopefully this will prevent you from making some of my mistakes in the future when you kind of, as you are getting things going, as you are scaling. But yeah, like if you think about like Jeff Bezos, for example, it's like, what did he do for those 7 years? He built the infrastructure that just wiped all of his competitors completely off the map, because they were just so short-sighted, focused on the quarter to quarter. He was like focused on like the decades, right? Imagine what you could do if you viewed your business the same. Everybody views our businesses like day to day, or like week by week, month to month on a grand scale. Nobody thinks about, oh, I'm doing better than I did last year, right? Like any regular business, they don't even think about weeks, days, months. It's just quarters. That's the shortest amount of time, right? And so I know on a short scale, in a short time horizon, if you look at it like go look at your Stripe account, it'll show you literally exactly this. In a short thing, it's like make a sale, then you don't make a sale, then you make a sale, right? It's just like this. Whose Stripe account probably looks like this? Raise your hand. Probably everybody, right? You zoom out and put it year to year, or like quarter to quarter. You don't look at that. Well, maybe not. Probably go like this. So what you think is so inconsistent, unpredictable, and massive fluctuations when it's like this, it's literally just like, that is just like a tiny little piece of like right here, just zoomed in. So there we go. One tangible, practical action step you can take away from this. And Erwin had a great idea about this, is have introduced like a scale tax in your business, where you take a set percentage of all your revenue and you dump it back in ads. Non-negotiable. 20% for Derek. Yep. Remember you mentioned that. I would suggest at least, 20 to 30% to really get things off the ground. And then, like I said, it gets to that point where the snowball is so big and it's got so much momentum, it's hard to stop, which means you don't need to spend as much to maintain those big months and to maintain that growth, right? However, if you want to maintain that growth, when you're doing 100K a month, what's 30%? 30K a month, $1,000 a day. If you get 6x return, you're doing some good numbers. A couple $100,000, right? And then you're growing and growing and growing from there. So yeah. For those of you, let's put this into action now. For those of you who have at least a 3x return, this is non-negotiable moving forward. Introduce the scale tax in your business. Give your business the breath it needs to breathe so it can succeed and thrive and grow. Otherwise, it's not going to. And I remember reading the book Profit First a few years ago. And one of the things in there, kind of the main principle of the system is like, you want to like separate your business accounts or separate your bank accounts. So create like new accounts and stuff like that. So one's like your income account. And then you put like, I don't know, a certain percentage away for taxes. Certain percentage of that goes into ads, for example. Certain percentage of that pay yourself. Like you kind of chunk it down like that. So then you're being responsible and whatnot. So on a very smaller scale, if literally all you did is just like, I feel like I have to say, put money aside for tax. But like the scale tax for sure. And just have a separate account where you're like, okay, this is all my ad money. Yeah. There's Derek. He's got 6 accounts. Exactly. We got a whole bunch too. Yep. Exactly. Mine looks very similar. But yeah, your scale tax is your ad spend. So let's say you sign a client for $5,000. Did you just make $5,000? Nope. You made 4 because 1,000 goes in ads. 20%. Now with that remaining 4, you get to decide what you want to do with that. You could spend an extra $1,000 or 2 on ads. Really crank things up. Might have other expenses and stuff too. Right? So yeah. Is that mission crystal clear for everybody? I want to hear from you guys.
Crystal clear, my man.
All
Yeah,
right,
that's good.
Lee, what are you going to do specifically? I'm calling you out.
No, I just did it. Like literally me and Erwin were just talking about this probably yesterday. I just upped my ad spend. I think on Monday it was at 50 total. Now it's at 95 per day. So the conversation is perfect timing for me. Yeah. So I just upped the ad spend.
Amazing.
Yep.
Good stuff, man.
Yep.
Good stuff. And with that too, again, like I said before, you want to make sure you give it enough time.
Yeah.
Right. 30 to 90 days. When I launch new ads and like, I don't expect a return for at least a few months out. That's my perspective. Easier said than done. I know a lot of guys are going to come and convert sooner than that for sure. Right. But I don't expect that because I don't expect to see the true compound effect for at least a few months out. Just from my experience, that's how long it usually takes to really start to see things compounding. And yeah, everyone said money that sits disappears. It's in your bank account. It's losing value. Inflation's going haywire right now. Right. So, okay. I'd love to hear from each one of you guys. What were some of your main takeaways from today? And what are you going to do differently moving forward?
I gotta definitely have a scale tax for sure. Like I was just letting the money sit and just being like, okay, cool. Like that's maybe for ads and maybe for my assistant and maybe for some other things, but there's no management around it. And it would be cool to hear about some of you guys' percentages for sure of how you're like dropping things so that I can get my mind around it, around not just scale tax, but I feel for sure like scale tax is killer because then you're like, well, regardless, I've got this money, it's going to go on ads and I know that it works because it only came in because of the ads in the first place. So it just kind of puts 2 and 2 together. So yeah, appreciate it, Jay.
Good stuff, man. Eric, I saw you had your hand up as well.
Yeah, last night I bumped my ad from $30 a day to $60 a day. And then during this call, I was like, shit, should I just go all the way? So January was a 24x ROAS for me. So I just bumped it up to 100 a day during the call right now.
Amazing, man. Amazing. Yeah. I would suggest make another sale. Like my mentality was like every time I make a sale, I'd like kind of double my ad spend until like around 100 a day, give or take. And then from there, I'd kind of increase it in increments of like $50 a day. Now, obviously, ticket size is a little bit different, right? But nonetheless, like it should be a goal. Because like we talk about like inputs determine outputs, right? Well, what's the inputs in terms of lead gen? It's your ad spend. If you want bigger outputs, you gotta have more inputs. And so if we all make plans based on the outcomes of like, oh, next month I want to make 30K a month. Then the month after that, I want to make 40 and then 50 and grow. But then we don't change the inputs. We spend the same amount of money. We don't increase it. Even just increase it by like 20, 30% a month. Easy. So good stuff, Eric. Proud of you, man. All right. I want to hear from more of you guys. I talked for a lot of time today, so
I want to add something real quick to bring it home. Sorry, go ahead, Juan.
Always. So my biggest takeaway is actually just to wait. I increased that spend like crazy last couple months. Feeling kind of low, but just wait. Just staying with the feeling everything was going well before, but it's just an investment. Matter of time. That's it. Really useful, by the way. Thank you.
Awesome.
My takeaway was in the beginning is the most difficult. You're pushing the biggest boulder, the biggest rock up the hill, and then once it gets to a certain point, it grows on its own.
Yeah, that's a great one, Cooper. Because like, yeah, right now with you, we're kind of in the stages of like pushing that motherfucker. And it's hard and it sucks and it's scary. So we don't know if it's gonna roll back on us, right? But yeah, once you break through that, give yourself a little bit of time, you'll be cruising. And especially just kind of like in those early stages, like kind of figuring out, like really getting clear on the messaging and the transformation. And once you really dial that in, you find your winning ad, game over.
Yep.
Yeah. I like what Alex said earlier in the chat too. I'm scrolling through it. ROAS doesn't pay the bills. Cash does. There you go. All right.
I want to share, a quick concept that has helped me bring this point home really good. Something that I saw a lot happening. So basically, it's just remembering that a key and really important thing is that in the end, what we're trying to do here is acquire leverage. In the end, leverage is getting a bigger output for an input, right? And running ads is a way of leverage, right? You put money in, you get more leads, you convert into money. But there's a caveat there. There is a leverage trap that you have to go through before leverage kicks in. So basically, doing that is what holds people back. A lot of people are just not willing to go through the leverage trap. And I'm going to share with you guys a graph real quick that has helped me a lot. But basically, it's understanding this. Let me know if you can see my screen. Can you guys see that?
Yeah.
So it's basically understanding this. Leverage trap, which is where most people get stuck and why they never do this, requires an increase in input with a decrease in output. The perfect example with ads is the increase in input is you're putting in more money into ads. And because things take time to take off, the output is a bit lower, right? Like you're not making money and you might be losing money in the short term. But you do that while leverage kicks in. And once it does that, the payoff from leverage is way higher. It's a trade-off. The problem is that most people are not willing to go through the leverage trap. And this is a perfect example of it. There are endless examples of this situation because acquiring leverage requires long-term thinking and it requires the ability to resist the immediate gratification or the pain of seeing your bank account go down. So you get a short-term payoff and short-term results. And to be able to do that, to be able to take a step back and actually accept the decrease in short-term results with an exchange for more leverage in the long term is not easy. and something that most people can do, won't do, or don't know how to do. But this is crucial if you want to take a 10x leap in your life. Like, it's a non-negotiable, right? So the problem is that people stay stuck here. And the leverage trap is exactly that. And because, yeah, it's scary. And all of those things that you all shared, all of those fears, they're true. And they're present. They're there. But here's the issue. If you're doing leverage, you have to remember that before leverage kicks in and you get this exponential payoff, you need to go through the leverage trap. And as Jeremy said, it sucks. So how do you prepare yourself to go through that and remind yourself through that? Because once it kicks in and it flips, then the payoff is exponential. But the problem is that a lot of people quit here and they never get to this part. So just wanted to share that graph real quick. It's helped a lot to bring this point home because, yeah, a lot of you are going through the leverage trap. And if you pull out of it, you quit when you're in the middle of it, you're not going to let the leverage kick in and for the graph to flip. And that's when you get the exponential and outrageous results.
That's awesome, man. That's powerful. And with that too, it's funny because when you do get those exponential results, a lot of times we forget the actions, the inputs that led to that because they were things that we did 3 to 6 months ago that led to that. So when you have a massive month, it's, okay, what did I do today that led to that? What did you do over the last 3 to 6 months that led to that? So that's the power of the compound effect. It doesn't work just like that, right? So there we go. That's good stuff, Eduardo. All right. So that said, who's actually serious? Who here is actually serious about scaling? Who's serious, fully committed, ready to scale hard, and do whatever it takes to win? Okay, lots of hands. Let's get some verbals. Unmute yourselves. Say, I am.
Fuck
I'm
yeah,
ready to
let's
scale.
fucking go.
I'm ready
There
to
we
go.
go.
All the way,
Ready.
100%, baby.
Let's go.
Let's
go.
Now you need to prove it to me. So after the call in Slack today, in the ads channel, I want you to post in there, talking about what you increase your ad spend to. What was your ROAS? What'd you increase the spend to? Now who's fully committed?
You got it.
Fuck yeah, Bobby. I know Eric. I already did that. Lee did too. With a screenshot. Let's make it real.
I'll do it right now and send a screenshot later.
Attaboy.
Jay, I got a quickie. I know I talked to you about doing 100 a day to launch, but I could do 150 a day. You think launch it at 150?
Get proof of concept first at 100. Then once you make your sale, then go up to 150.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Cooper, what's happening, brother?
Yeah, I had a quick question just with like triage lists. Hopefully you can help me with this. So I think we're always as like business owners, we're trying to figure out like there's a million things we could do, but what's the one big thing that we could do to really move the needle today? I think I'm curious on that. So like where I'm at is I just launched a new angle with the low testosterone hook that you kind of helped me with. It's kind of going the energy and money route, getting more energy, being able to make more money. And I've got 2 other angles that I'm going to run with a very similar hook. You know, we'll do like the dating one and then the like health and fitness one.
Yeah.
And I have a swipe up retargeting ad that I just launched last night for like $10 a day. I guess like, where do you think I should go? Like, what's the next thing that I should do? I'm just kind of waiting.
Gotcha. Okay. Great question, man. Basically what I would do is, because you've got like kind of the 3 angles, right? So it's like low T, and then it's like, okay, what's the benefit? So right now what you're testing is the benefit that is the greatest desire for your audience, right? So it's like the main driver, whether that's making more money and having more energy, whether that's better dating opportunities, or something else, right? Or fitness, I think it was, right? Health and fitness. And so right now what I would test is to see which one of those 3 is most important to your audience, right? So from there, then like really look at like the conversations you have in DMs and on calls over the next like month or so, and really just see, like, try and just listen and get feedback from them and hear what that is. And then I would start shifting your content more towards that too. And then that way all your messaging throughout the entire funnel is very congruent the whole way. And then from there, I would just double down on kind of like that, selling that one main transformation, that one main outcome. And then the other ones kind of become like kind of sub benefits, so to say.
Yeah. Yeah. Those sub angles aren't filmed yet, but I have like my main angle filmed and launched. I just threw a super basic edit, and then I have my editor doing like a much gnarlier edit. So I was actually going to kind of split test those first and see if the one that's heavily edited outperforms the basic one.
Okay.
And then from there, choose the winner and then put that one up against a different angle.
Perfect.
So,
yeah. That makes sense. Testing the editing style first, and then from there, test the angle.
Yeah.
Using that winning editing style.
How long should I run the swipe up retargeting? Like, is it just like 7 days and then chill on it for a little bit, or like?
I launched mine back in like October. I haven't touched them. They just work. They're just consistent.
Okay,
So,
solid.
Yeah. It's one of those things where it's like it's just a slow burn on the back end. So like today I woke up with 2 or 3 scale DMs, and it's pretty good. So
Wait, thank you so much.
Yeah, of course, man. Of course. Yeah, I'm excited for you, man. I feel like we're just so damn close. And yeah, exactly. And then that snowball's rolling. So cool. All right. Before we get into Juan, I want to hear a couple more takeaways from today. And then also moving forward, in order to ask a question, guys, you gotta share a win first. Remember that. So okay, Erwin, business gym inputs, more inputs you make, more digits in your bank. Oof. There we go. Okay, I want to hear from two more people. Main takeaway: don't spend money on dumb shit. It's not scaling. Yeah, your time will come to spend money on dumb shit. Trust me, your time will come. But the more money you spend on dumb shit now, the further you're delaying that.
I can go for one. So quick win, sign another client, deposit, and then onboarding her tomorrow, which is great. Biggest takeaway, this goes hand in hand with the conversation I had with Erwin as well. So I gotta do a different ad that hits more of the actual pain online coaches are having. So my takeaway is record that fucking ad today, get that done, and then put more money into it. So absolutely.
Love it, man. Love it. All right, Juan, start with a win and then go from there.
Yeah, so my win is that I closed another client yesterday. So go.
Attaboy. Let's go. How much was that one for?
1.25. Yeah.
Attaboy.
So it's good. My question is, since I'm going to commit to spending more on ads, should I increase like my ad spend budget on follower ads or retargeting? I'm at 65% follower, 35% retargeting, and I feel I need more conversations. So it would make sense for me to do more retargeting, but I understand it's better to have a lot of traffic coming from the top of the funnel. So what do you think?
Great question. Yeah, I agree with Lee there, follower ad. The reason for that is kind of like that Goodwill bank account. If they're just getting hit with tons of offers every single day, then they're going to go blind to your offers, and you're going to ad fatigue really quickly. If you're not filling that bucket with more, you're filling that bank account with more and more followers coming through the top. So usually my rule of thumb is like I only spend like 10% of my budget on retargeting ads, if that. I think right now I'm kind of floating around 10 to 15, give or take. And then from there, making sure that I'm being on top of it in terms of like, messaging every new follower, starting those conversations and stuff like that too. So I would definitely crank up the top of funnel, and then you'll notice your top of funnel because it's bringing more volume through, your retargeting ads are going to do better anyways. Because there's more people that are fresh that haven't been seeing your ad every time they log on, and they're going to be more likely to be more responsive. Does that make sense?
Yep. Of course. I'll do it. Thank you.
Sweet. Good stuff. Lee, what's up? Share with us a win, my friend.
Yep. Win first. Been closing a lot more clients recently. This week I closed 2, and last week broke the sales slump, got a PIF. So starting to get out of that sales slump, get back to it. Couple of thoughts to share. Number one, I don't know if everyone knows this, but like the retargeting ads, they automatically will repopulate. So to answer Juan's question, like if you increase your top of funnel, that's just going to help the pool of the retargeting ads anyways, and you'll be able to run your retargeting ads longer if you have more at the top. So that's more details on my perspective on that. The other thing was I wanted to share a story from earlier about something, Jeremy, you had said. I think the 3rd month, Jeremy, I was working with you. I ended up getting like a 4x ROAS, which is really good. But I only had like 22% close and my show up rate was 43%. So even with shitty metrics like that, I was still getting a 4x return on ad spend. And that just goes to show, number one, this strategy works. Number two, like at the time, I thought the ad was the reason everything else was going wrong. Oh, my show up rate's bad. My closing percentage is bad because like my ad is bringing in the wrong people, which was not true at all. It was my post booking process, my appointment setting process. I wasn't that good of a closer. And so I know we're talking about ads, but if you guys just follow Jeremy's framework, which is, obviously genius, you're probably going to hit and figure it out. And don't put too much weight on your entire business on just the ad. A lot of it also has to do with your appointment setting and if you're actually any good at closing or not. So just some food for thought I wanted to share with you guys.
That's awesome, man. Appreciate you sharing that.
Yeah.
I've also found another huge component as well is just like your overall branding and your content, how likable you are, how authentic you are to the audience, right? I really do think that authenticity goes so far, and how congruent your message is throughout your ads. So then your ads are attracting people for this specific reason, and then your content speaking towards that as well. And then also like your VSL and your sales process is all in congruency with that as well, and everything's all on the same page. So all right, and that's a wrap for the video. Hope you enjoyed that live recording of a coaching call. And if you did get any value from this, you want to see more videos like this, more recordings of inside the community, let me know down below in the comments. Just literally let me know. I read them all and I respond to you as well. It's literally me. I don't have anyone else doing that. Smash the like button too if you got some value from this. So if you want to be a part of the conversation and actually be active in there, ask questions and engage with us and interact with us, then booking a call down below. The link's in the description just below this video, and you can chat with myself or one of the members on my team, and we'll get you signed up and enrolled in the program. If you're not sold yet, go watch the main video on my channel, look at my client interviews, my client success stories, playlist here on YouTube, and then also my client results story highlights on my Instagram page at Jeremy_Pogue. Go sell yourself. Once you're ready to make that leap and actually level up and start making some real big boy money, then you know what to do. Either DM me on Instagram or booking a call down below. We'll get you signed up. But if you want to be a part of this conversation and kind of really just kind of elevate things and take things to the next level, whether it's talking about marketing and sales and acquisition and ads and scaling, or the back end, because a lot of my clients, and it's what we focus on the mastermind too, is once you have your acquisition process is dialed in, then your back end fulfillment process completely breaks and shatters. So that's what we really focus on. Building out in the mastermind and inside Summit Scale too, so you can actually grow your business predictably and consistently with doing the right things at the right times and putting the right pieces in the right place. So if that is of interest to you and you want our help to actually help you like put the right pieces in the right place at the right time so you can actually scale, booking a call down below or DM me over on Instagram at Jeremy_Pogue. Aside from that, let me know down below if you'd like the video. If you want to see more of these, just let me know. See you next one. Bye.